Hello and welcome. This is FIDE Master Vedant Goswami. Today we are going to analyze a game. I'll be analyzing a game of of my students, and it has a lot of very instructive movements. So let us start. The game starts with e4, black plays e5, nf3, nc6, very regular, Gico piano, d3, and h6. So h6 already is a slightly questionable movement because, as we know in the opening, we should develop the pieces faster and avoid all pawn movements. So, and h6 is a very natural move, understanding that many beginners are really afraid of this pin, but we should also know how to handle it. And in this case, since black has not castled, the pin won't be very dangerous. So let us see how what we can do. So if we play nf6 and white continues with bishop g5, I can simply play h6 and bishop h4, g5, and even d6. And I'm not worried about making safety in this position because I always have the option to go queen side. And I can even use these pawns as an attacking force. Right, so this is one of the position where the pin is not dangerous. And so h6 turns out to be a waste of time. Right, so uh, let us go forward. So white plays bishop e3. And again, uh, it is important to notice that the player is kind of a beginner with around 1,000 elo, and this is a typical mistake of beginners that they play the first natural move that comes to their mind in the game. So if it is a capture, they will do it whether it gives them something or not. So here, without considering the other two options, let us say bishop b6 or even queen e7, or I might even consider bishop to e7, multiple options to deal with the attack on bishop on c5. So white made the most natural, black made the most natural move, bishop into e3. That is okay, still nothing is bad. Let us continue. So nf6, white played castles, d6, queen e1, castles, nc3, and now a6. A6 again is a very typical waiting move made by kind of beginners, and for some reason they just want to chase the bishop, which cannot be chased. And actually, A3 is a good move here because it provides a safe home for the bishop along the diagonal. So yes, this is a typical mistake, and I keep saying you should avoid the pawn moves. Always the basic rule of chess thinking is pieces before the pawns. So here a move could have been considered as the bishop to e6. That would have been a reasonable move. Or then I can consider na5, right? Attacking the bishop and asking the question immediately. So, so na5 is a proper candidate. Bishop e6 is one. And so I'm thinking about the pieces. Okay, so this is the way thinking should go. Pieces before the pawns. A6, it doesn't essentially weaken the position, but some moves are simply bad because better moves are available. And in this case, black had the opportunity to do much better by bishop e6 or na5. Okay, so let us continue. And now we reach the critical moment in the game. Uh, so d4. Now black has a decision what to do with the pawn center, whether to hold it, support it, or how to take the game forward. Now, this is a very interesting position. If you see, this pawn on e5 is kind of known as a strong point, and it is holding all the white forces back. And if this is gone, which actually happened in the game, white simply captured it, and suddenly white has a nice mobile center, right? You see, this is the ideal center any player can want because it is free to go. It gives white some good space, and the pawn is ready to move forward. So white's position suddenly improved a lot. So this is one of the basic mistakes, like I will say again, of making a move without thinking how it will affect the position of both us and the opponent. So in this case, you are helping the opponent because you are undoubling the pawn on e3. You are giving the opponent a free center, and you are doing nothing to protect your own position. So a thing would be to just hold the center. Maybe let us say queen e7, and hold the center, and don't dissolve the double pawns of white. And in this position, my student told me that he is afraid of d5. Now it is very important to understand what each move affects the position, how each move affects the position. So we had a small discussion, and we saw, let us say d5. I said, okay, let us make a null move like king h8 and see what effect has d5 on the position, and whether it is a move which is worth being afraid or not, or if in fact we would be happy allowing it. Okay, so d5 actually is a very bad move because that will make this bishop permanently bad, and it will close all the files, and it stops attacking this formation. So when the pawn was on d4, it was attacking, it was putting tension on the e5 square, it was restricting black a bit. Now black is free to actually regroup, maybe knight b8, knight goes to c5, sorry, knight c5, and attacking the pawn on e4. Black can plan a break with c6. Maybe black can plan f5 sometime. There are multiple plans. So essentially, I would say the problem in the position is over. So now d5, it is a very critical moment. It is very important to understand how pawn structures will change the possibility of the pieces. So if white is angling for d5, you should probably happily allow it because that helps black a lot. So black played nb6, and after this the game went on, and ultimately h3, bishop h5, while again a very simple tactical miss because black could have captured it and gained the pawn. So this is again one of the things. So if it's a puzzle and it is a puzzle, most of the people will solve it. But finding opportunity on your own without being prompted is really difficult. It takes a lot of time, but it comes with continuous analysis and practice. So this was a lost opportunity. And after queen h4, takes, and finally did capture the pawn. But let us say, and see, now again, white sees the threat. I discussed with the student. He sees the direct threat, but still did not do anything to prevent it. The only thing he was afraid of, that the king goes to h7, the e5 is a check. So you see the threat, but you did not spend enough time and effort to find a reasonable solution. So a simple move could have been like, let us say, king f8 or king h8. Both prevent the direct attack. So yeah, simply noticing the problem is not enough. You have to spend enough time and energy to see the seriousness of the problem and then solve it. So, mm, um, so yeah, so these were the interesting moments in the game. Later, actually, Black went on to lose the game by making a blunder, dropping a piece. But I hope the discussion of the pawn structure and the tempo and that will be useful, and it will help you in developing your game and avoiding some simple mistakes. I'll see you in the next chapter.